Matthew chapter 7 this morning. Matthew chapter 7. And I'm going to preach fast, so you listen fast and we'll be good, all right? Matthew chapter 7. God has given me a message this morning, and I hope we'll be in tune and engaged. Matthew chapter 7, we finished our Transforming Power of Christ in the month of April, and we embark on family foundations for the month of May. And how fitting this morning in coming to Matthew chapter 7 and verse 24, we see the parable here. But I want you to back up to verse 21 and see what's preceding the verses. Not everyone that saith, verse 21, unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So in verses 15 through 20, we see false prophets. In verses 21 through 23, we see false professions. We see people that are going to get to the presence of the Lord and understand that they were never His. What a sad day. What a sad day for those who think that they're all right to get there and Him to say, depart. I never knew you. For them to get there thinking they prayed to Him in His name and done things for Him to say, I never knew you. What a disappointing day. What a destructive day. Because it won't be good after that. On the heels of that, we come to Matthew 7. And I'm talking this morning about foundations for life, specifically for the family. We've got to get the foundation right. And in 1174, an Italian architect, Pisano began to work on what will become the famous, very famous project. It will be a separately standing bell tower for the cathedral city of Pisa. And the tower is to be 8 stories high, about 185 feet tall. And you know well the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The only problem, the builders built this humongous building and then afterward discovered that the ground was a little softer than they had anticipated, and there was a lean to the foundation. It was far too shallow to sustain the height of the building. And sure enough, before long, it began to tilt and continued to tilt until finally the architects and builders realized that nothing could be done to straighten it. It took 176 years to build. Wouldn't that be a disappointing 176 years to understand? I'm thinking 176 years to build a crooked building. I can do that in 15 minutes. The guys that spent the time, the hours, and I doubt they had Kubota lifts then, so there was a lot of labor that went into this. But they'd done everything imaginable over the years to try to shore this up. Even some 15, 20 years ago, spent $25 million to try to, help. It's some 17 foot at one time out of kilter. And I think they may have helped at about 16 inches at one time. So still a mess. They dug up 110 tons of dirt to try to sustain it, but still standing. And after a 12-year closure, they finally opened it up after the $25 million project. I doubt they'll ever recoup the $25 million. But what was the real problem? Was it bad design? poor workmanship, inferior grade of marble that they used on the building. No, the problem was underneath. The problem was underneath. The sandy soil on which the city of Pisa was built was not able to sustain the size of it. Problems always stem from the foundation. That goes for family, it goes in my personal life, that goes for these graduates. The foundation is the most important. And just like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you'd think they would have learned from that problem. In as recent as 2008, they built a building called the Millennium Building in San Francisco. 58 stories. Stood proudly but crookedly in downtown San Francisco. And I think that's fitting for the city. Moving on. Its engineers did not dig deep enough in the foundation, so they're trying to retrofit. They've spent more trying to retrofit than they spent building the building. And to try to, once that mistake is made on the foundation, it can never really fully be corrected. There can attempts to be made to do it, but it's not ever going to be right. Foundations matter. Foundations matter. When your foundation isn't solid, catastrophe will ensue. Not could ensue, will ensue. It's just a matter of time. You may have the outside decorated looking fine. And in the text we're going to read this morning, there was 2 builders, 2 houses, 2 foundations, and 2 outcomes. Verse 24 we read, "Therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the flood came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it." Now, it would be kind of like, Brother Jordan, if you'll come help me, just have a seat right here on the platform. Let's just pretend that he is my executive assistant. And I have a business, and the business is expanding into Europe. And so I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to leave. I'm going to take my family with me. I'm going to leave my current business in Jordan's hands. And I'm going to Europe to try to build, expand my business. And try to, you want to develop, you want to grow, and so I'm going to do that. And to pull this off, he has to take care of everything here, stateside. And I'm going to write regularly to give instructions. Now, this is before the communications we have now, but it wouldn't really matter. But to give the illustration like I want it, it'd be like God left us instructions. Right here they are. So I'm going to send him instructions through the mail for the 6 to 8 months that I'm gone. Everything goes wonderful in Europe. I come back after mailing multiple letters, and I come to what I had left, and there was grass growing up in the cracks of the pavement, about knee high. There was windows that were busted out of the building that I had left in his hands. Now, this wouldn't happen in real life. And I go to the place that I run. I'm the owner of this business, and I go to the office, and some secretary is sitting there filing her nails, chomping chewing gum with trash running out of the trash cans. And she's listening to some ungodly music and just chomping chewing gum, having a good time. trash overflowing, little pieces of paper that had been ripped out, the cabs from paper all over the floor. She's just humming to the music. Finally, I hate to see people chewing gum. I'm just going to tell you. I was thinking the worst possible scenario, and that's for me. Come here. It's chomping. How many of it gets on your nerves? Yeah. So just having a time. And I say, where's Jordan? I hadn't seen him. So I go down the hall, and in one room they got TVs going, and they're just sitting in there having a good time and watching soap operas on the afternoon. And it's like a party going on. And I said, where's he at? I don't know. Nobody's seen him. I go down the hall. I bump into him. He's playing chess with his sales manager. Playing chess on work time with a sales manager. Hey, how you doing? I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? I said, did you get all the letters that I sent you? Yeah, we got it. He said, matter of fact, he said, every Friday we divide the personnel up into small groups and we look at your letters. Stay with me now. Every Friday we look at your letters. He said, matter of fact, some of the people have actually, we take pieces of your letters and we meditate on them. Matter of fact, some of our employees have even chosen to memorize some of the letters that you sent us. Well, then I get kind of really mad and say, well, what are you doing about them? And he says, do? Nothing. Nothing. That's the foolish man. He heard everything, but he didn't do anything. James said it's like looking in a mirror, refusing to fix what you see. Be not hearers only, be doers of the word. How awful is it to know that Jesus left us instructions and we discussed them? He said we discussed the letters. We talked about them. We divided up and studied them. But nothing's been done. I think sometimes we get enamored with the exterior of Christianity while the interior is falling apart. The foundations, it's obvious our homes are falling apart. Why? The foundation's messed up. And so he likened it here to the foolish man. And as I mentioned already, 2 builders, 2 houses, 2 foundations, and 2 different outcomes. 2 different outcomes. D.L. Moody said this, our greatest problem is the problem of trafficking in unlived truth. Trafficking in unlived truth. One pastor told another pastor, he says, are y'all Bible believers? He said, you better believe we're Bible believers. He said, well, are you Bible livers? So I ask us this question. Nothing is going to matter when our homes is this foundation for the foolish man came crashing in. Nothing's going to matter at that time but what we did for the foundation. All of us are building. There were 2 separate lives here, 2 different labors, sets of labor, one foolish, one wise, and they built. And what are you building your spiritual house on? Most of us work during the day. Some of you work at night. Some of you work in the evening. But most of us work. We have jobs. We understand that the government's not going to give us money forever. And all God's people said, amen. No wonder you got a work shortage. You're getting checks from the government. Nobody's going to work. Only political statement I'll make today, all right? Nothing's free. And what they ought to do is give tax write-offs for all working people. All right, I said that's two. That's two. Okay. All right, that's two. Most of us work. Some of us go to school. We carry on normal lives. We raise families. We pay bills. We get up tomorrow. We go to work. We raise families. We pay bills. We go to school. We enjoy some hobby. We enjoy some, extracurricular activities. And we get up Monday morning and we go to work and we raise a family and we pay bills. And all of us, and like these two, both of them had houses, and actually they both looked fine to the natural eye. They both had 4 walls, a roof, floor. They look great. And today most people they look fine. But what I'm finding out after 25 years is on the inside, we're decaying at a rapid pace. You can't live on popcorn and fluff and have substance when you get done. A faith that can't be tested can't be trusted. 2 builders, 2 houses, 2 foundations, 2 outcomes. Like the builders in Jesus' story, there's a distinctive difference between all of us. The difference can only be seen underground. There's differences about every one of us. Some of them are, you can pick them up from the natural physical, but most of them are different on the inside. The foundations. What we build our lives on. And so to our graduates, to us, to those of us who are middle age, or maybe in the sunset years of our life, it matters what we build our life on. And it's made by choices each day. A bad day lasts 24 hours. A bad choice lasts forever. We each make choices. What is he referring to when we see this faulty foundation as the sand in verse number 26? What does he mean by that? I mean, in Palestine in the summer season, they would have these rivers called wadis. And when the torrential rains come, it would fill them up. Well, then the rains would go away in the dry season and leave just a beautiful flat-looking bank. But the bank was nothing but sand. And everybody knew anything that if you built something there, sooner or later the waters were going to come and overtake it. But to the person that's trying to get something quick and easy, they just slap a nice looking building up there and say, man, that's a beautiful piece of property to the unknowing eye. And that's what so many people do in our day. They build their lives on the cotton candy of this world. They build their lives on materialism. They build their lives on prosperity. They build their lives on their career, and they build their lives on hobbies, and they build their lives on things that will fracture and fail. When the test and the time of test comes, they will falter under the pressure. And we're seeing it as a nation. If the foundations be destroyed, and I say they have been, but you and I as God's people need to make sure that the foundation of our life, not the materials that you build with, I'm talking about the foundation. The building material, for instance, salvation, Jesus is the foundation. A building material may be baptism, maybe church membership. You don't build a foundation on baptism or church membership, but you do use them as materials to grow. They're steps of obedience to the Lord. But if you try to build your life on church membership and that's your hope of heaven, you're going to be sadly mistaken, as these were in Matthew 7, depart from me, I never knew you. If you try to build your foundation on a good moral life, while that's good building material, it's not good for the foundation. Jesus is the only sure foundation. And so the water comes a few months later, and these wadis become raging torrents of water. And tears down whatever it is in its way. If you aren't very familiar with the area and you didn't check carefully and you didn't dig down to see what's beneath, like the world's philosophies that we're biting into so rapidly, if you don't check down and see what's in this current culture today, I'm not going to name any prevalent themes in our culture. You can figure it out. But you better dig down and see what's at the bottom. Jesus has to be the foundation. Why did they want to build on sand anyway? Because, they didn't want to. They didn't want to dig down. It was easier and it was cheaper to do it that way. But at the end, it wasn't the best choice. People are always looking for an easy way. I want to say to you, there's no easy way to follow Jesus Christ. There's no crossless Christianity. And for God's people, we must learn to put Him at the foundation. Not worldly philosophy, not science, not politics, not jobs, not careers, not even family. He has to be the foundation of our family. Not good works, not man-made creeds, not tradition. Jesus has to be the foundation. Have you confused building material with a foundation? Jesus must be the foundation. So let's get to the difference for sake of time. What's the difference? And we got one to build on a rock builder, sand builder. What made the difference? Storm. When the storm came, the house upon the sand fell, the house on the rock stood. The storm reveals the foundation in which we build our lives. So guys, if you'll come up and help me here. Jordan, you get the umbrella. I think you were the heel guy. And I need some more wind. Are you wind, Brother Jeff? You push, you wind, good. All right, you guys kind of get in here with me, the top and the bottom, and then everybody else kind of get around the edge. Come on in. You two right here close to me. Come on close. I've already had COVID. Get in my grill, yeah. All right, Brother Joe, you spin on around a little bit. So we see here the pressure from above. What happened? Let's look at it in your verse here, verse 27. And the rain descended. So I got the rain right here coming over. This is the rain. He's not going to hit me with this umbrella. We've already discussed this. So the pressure above. The rain's coming. Okay? Then what does he say? Verse 27, the rain descended and the floods came. Now, I got this heel grabber right here trying to hit my heel. Come over here when I can see you hit my heels. Don't really hit my heels. So I got the pressure above. I didn't get out from under it just because the rain started coming up. I didn't get out of the pressure. And now look at verse 27. What happens? The floods came and the winds blow and beat upon the house. So I got pressure from above. I got pressure from below. And then I got pressure everywhere. So I go over here to try to get out from this guy. And I'm over here and I try to go over here to get out from this guy. And I go over here. Does any of you ever feel like that? Everywhere you go. There's a text, there's a phone call, there's somebody nipping at your heels or hovering over you with pressure. And if you're not built on the solid foundation of Jesus Christ, when the winds blow and the rains come and the floods come creeping up in your life, you will crumble. It may be fine as long as it's not raining. It may be fine as long as the floods are not creeping and the wind's not blowing. I neglected this wind over here. It's fine if none of that's happening. And we don't need the Lord. We don't need to come to church. Look, we're doing fine. We don't need to be faithful to God's house. We're doing fine, Pastor. Look at our family. That's because there's no rain coming. There's nothing coming up at your heels there. This is not blowing right now. Everything's good. But boy, when the winds start blowing and the rains start coming and all of that, and you're tossed around and he's coming and they're coming and everybody's coming for you, it matters. What's at the bottom? How did the Golden Gate Bridge survive? It's planted in rock. Only the rock of Jesus will sustain you when this comes. We find people when the rains come and the floods come and the winds come, you know what they want to do? They want to start seeing what's wrong with the house. It's not the windows. It's not around you. It's inside. It's the foundation. Sometimes we wait, we neglect the foundation till the thing starts caving in. You can't live on fluff and you can't live on sandy bottoms all your life and expect to get in front of the Lord and Him say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." You can't build on sand and have stability in the storm and have stability when the winds blow and when the hounds of hell are around you. You can't have stability in sand lots. You only have stability when you're planting yourself in the Word. Securing yourself in the Word. He says, "I am the Word." He's the Word. And so when Jesus is not the foundation, you can paint, you can get Gorilla Tape. I don't care what kind of tape you get, it ain't going to hold. I took some Gorilla Glue to my Bible the other day. I can do that. I didn't know that stuff works. Look at that. Its spine's so good. Tight, good. I'm sorry, Brother Dwight. You know what? I just didn't want to take the time to go get that done. So I just said, I'm going to try this first. He's probably had many that tried Gorilla Glue and come back and said, "I tried Gorilla Glue here, Brother Dwight. Fix this." But it'll hold a Bible. It'll hold a book. But piecing together stuff won't hold for long. And you can try to look so good, but when the winds blow, you're going to get knocked around. And you can try to be good and look. See, for a time I was good. Thank y'all. For a time I was good. For a time I was good. And man, I've seen families get to a season in life where they think, we don't need this in our life right now. We're okay without the Lord. Things are going good. The bills are paid. The job's good. No sign of any layoffs. We're just going to do our own thing. It's a lot prettier at the lake on Sunday than the church anyhow. Uh-oh. I'm preaching to people who are here, right? I want to warn you. When you figure out there's a foundation problem, it may be too late to go fix everything. By that I mean, when you stand before the Lord, you can't go alter the foundation. And even when you get far enough along in life, you can trust the Lord at whatever age He's dealing with you. Absolutely. And I'm thankful that He's available, aren't you? There's going to be some baggage and some scars in your life. They're not going to be just taped up. There's going to be some cracks. There's going to be signs of wear. But I'm glad when Jesus is our foundation. I mean, not jobs, not friends. Jesus. Jesus. He's the only thing that matters. I know it sounds so trite, it sounds so simple, but it is. And when the storms blow, the winds are coming, the rain's coming, we have an anchor. His name's Jesus. It's not my friends at work. It's not my 401k. It's not the stock market. It's not investments. It's not rental property. It's not all my friends. It's Jesus. Because one day friends are going to fail you. Finances are going to fail you. They're going to shift. They're going to shift. What happens to sand? What's the problem with it? It shifts. And so does what's ever on top. Some of you dear families and some of you graduates, listen, I beg you, build your life on Jesus. You won't be sorry. When the storms of grief come, you have an anchor. When the storms of disappointment come, you have an anchor. When the marital storms come, you have an anchor. When life in general brings a storm, you have an anchor. But if you wait till you get in the middle, it may be difficult. Things are going to happen. This house crashed. He didn't plan for it to crash, but it did. Nobody plans for their life to crash. Storms, the one constant in this story is a storm, because they happen to everybody. So I ask you this morning, what is your foundation built on? Nobody's exempt from storms, not even people who follow Jesus. There are no storm-free zones in life. There are none. Your faith will be tested. Will be tested. May God help us. Which one are you on? 1 Corinthians 3:11 tells us that He's really the only foundation that stands. No other foundation can any man lay. There's only one. You can try the job. You can try whatever you want to try. It's not going to work. Jesus is the only sustainable, safe, steadfast foundation for your life. And that doesn't change. It doesn't mean, I've seen some people, I've seen some family members of mine get up in age and think that they can just kind of start, they built maybe on Jesus, foundation of their life, but when they get a little older, they think they can just change building material, just kind of stop checking the foundation. No. No matter what age you are, there's only one sure foundation, that's Jesus. If you try to build on anything else, it will crumble. Just like this foolish man found out. But when he found out, he'd already invested his all the energy, think about it, all that he invested, gone. Wouldn't it be sad to be these people before Jesus and invest their whole lives in something they thought was worthwhile and worthy causes, only to hear, "Depart from me, I never knew you"? Or for the child of God that goes to heaven and stands before the judgment seat, and when they get before the judgment seat, all they see is a big puff of smoke. Because the things that we built on after salvation were wood, hay, and stubble. And they burn up on a cloud of smoke. What's your foundation? I don't mean 1967. I mean right now. Right now, what are you building on?